On behalf of Bangalore Chamber of Industry and Commerce, we welcome you all for this exclusive session on digital supply chain for FMCG. I'm Rupa, I'm Secretary at BCIC. The above session is organized under the aegis of Agro and Food Processing Expert Committee. We have the leading team from IV Mobility Singapore addressing today's session, Mr. Arvind, who is the CFO and Head Strategy, Mr. Anand Singh, Head Pre-Sales, Mr. Hitesh Sadarangani, who is the Director Product. Thank you very much, sirs, for accepting our invitation to address and interact with our members. The Agro and Food Processing Expert Committee is led by Mr. Ankur Bhaumik, who is the COO of MTR Foods, co-chaired by Mr. Prakash T, who is the Technical Director of Center for Holistic Agriculture and Green Enterprise, and also by Mr. Jagdish Sunkar, who is the Director, Kanakadhara Agricultural Innovations. The committee is mentored by Mr. Narsimha Nakshatri, who is the Pro Vice Chancellor of BSTU University at Andhra Pradesh. On behalf of the Chamber, we welcome our annual sponsors for the session, Mrs. Bueller, Fundamax, IAMPL, MTR, SDMIMD, Sona Group of Colleges, Vishwas Group of Companies, and Wipro for their support in the activities of the Chamber. Thank you very much once again for joining this session. And I now request Mr. Prakash R to take it over from here. Over to you, sir.
Yeah, thanks, Rupa. Before heading further, I think, I'd request Mr. Ankur Bhaumik to do a short welcome as also the context setting for the webinar. Yeah.
So thank you, Mr. Prakash, so much, and very good afternoon and warm welcome to all of you to this today's very important session on digital supply chain for FMCG by IV Mobility. I'm not going to give the introduction of IV Mobility, all the speakers, because Mr. Prakash will do that. I'll talk about supply chain a bit because, I'm a supply chain professional. So when it comes to supply chain, probably I can spend a couple of minutes, not more than that, because I don't want to steal anything from the IV Mobility. We'll be talking about this product, particularly how it's going to help all the companies in the last mile to the connectivity. But I can tell you the supply chain development, which started probably some 30 years back and maybe 25, 30 years back. And we see that a lot of development that has happened in India today. And when we talk about FMCG, I particularly talk about processed foods and fruits and vegetables, which is more of an agro and food. It is far more complex, probably even than FMCG, because we talk about farm to fork and to manage the entire supply chain. And most important for supply chain for food processing and processed food and fruits and vegetable, when I really look at, is the important thing is about how do you manage entire supply chain, which is cost efficient and the time. Very, very important about cost and time because it has got certain shelf life, and shelf life is even lesser than FMCG non-food. Where we can survive with FMCG non-food something like 2 to 3 years of stock expiry, whereas in non-food it is probably it is between 3 days to probably 90 days to 270 days. And therefore, farm to fork supply chain becomes very important and very integral to the organizational strategy when it comes to managing profitability of the company and the sustainability of the company. I would say that for the last 5 years to 10 years, we see the digital revolution coming up. And mostly we have seen for FMCG, the biggest beneficiaries of the digital is actually supply chain, because we see that how supply chain is digital is helping digitizing entire network across supply chain. And I understand that today IV Mobility will be talking about the last mile connectivity, and I will more talk about that how important for every company when we look at every company, like processed food company or any agri and food company will actually look at two things very, very clearly. Is that, am I satisfying my consumer? Am I adding my consumer? Am I where the consumer thinks that what they're buying, am I being competitive? Consumers should get value for money. That's most important. And second is that whether the organization is adding more consumers. And therefore, in a way, a supply chain's job only two. This is cost and revenue increase, and how digital in last mile connectivity help leverage these two particular KPI which I'll talk about, the cost to serve, which is very, very important. And second is that how can we have on time delivery? Increasing revenue is so important. And I'll just tell you that I was doing a bit of calculation the other day, and we saw a medium food company, they produce 1 million packs a day, and that's a lot, 1 million packets. A large food company would be producing 10 to 20 million packets a day, and the smaller one would be producing probably a few 100,000 packets a day. So just imagine that the how complex the supply chain when only in few cities, it is a tier 1 and tier 2 cities, it could be metro cities, there are more than a million retailers and few 100 million consumers. And how, when you really look at all the variables and the production of the companies, you really look at the supply chain becomes very complex, and where digital is one, is actually helping us with all these optimizers. So I will not take much time. I would like to hear from everyone, and I'm sure everyone would be looking at this session, how IV mobility is helping organizations achieve these two particular points, because to me, these are the 2 points for anyone would be very important. So over to Mr. Prakash.
Thank you, Mr. Bhaumik. I think one is you generally talked about the supply chain as well as set something like a target for the speakers also on what they should focus on in the requirement of the industry. Thanks. I think what I'll now do is introduce the speakers. We have a team actually, a team of 3 members from IV Mobility. And good thing about the team is I think they are a mix of 3 different streams of whatever experience, qualification, all this. We have one person who is a CFO, who is strong, a chartered accountant, who is quite strong with all the financial aspects. The other strong in marketing, that is Mr. Arvind. And the third is Hitesh, who is more a technical person. Coming to each one of them, I think Anand Singh is now the CFO with IV Mobility. He's been working there for almost 10 years now. Prior to that, he has worked with Creative Head, Tool Heads Production, Media and Entertainment for a couple of years. And then he was a 3D artist and visual effects person at Magic Lantern. And this was, I think, his first stint of work. This is Anand Singh. And then coming to Arvind. Arvind is the CFO. Arvind is the CFO, and then he has earlier worked as a partner with Shankar Iyer and Company prior to IV Mobility. So basically, he understands organizations, as Mr. Ankur said, very definitely in terms of the bottom line, profits, how to increase profits, whatever, all that. I think he understands all that very well. Hitesh is the solutions architect at IV Mobility, leading the solution consultancy practices, subject matter expert as far as the SME, as regards order to sales and retail execution business processes are concerned. One good thing about all these 3 is I think they've been working with IV Mobility for quite some time now. And prior to this, he was Mr. Hitesh was with Accenture as manager, and then prior to that, technical manager with Newspage India Software Services Private Limited, and couple of other companies also. So in all, I think we have 3 wonderful gentlemen with different backgrounds, all together will be talking with us about the digital supply chain as a team. The session will be in a presentation mode where they will do the presentation, and after the presentations, I think we will have the Q&A session for about 10 minutes. This is the mode. Over to the IV team now.
Thank you very much, Mr. Ankur, Mr. Prakash, Chairman and Co-Chairman. Thank you very much for giving IV Mobility an opportunity to be present in front of BCIC and all the members from the food and consumer goods industry side. IV Mobility has been in this space of providing intelligent route to market solutions for over a decade now, with some of the major blue chip companies having presence globally. And we provide this out of our cloud based ERP solutions. Uh, and we provide a rather outcome driven uh, solution, which is called reducing the cost to serve, getting the right assortment in each shelf, driving up the same stores, reducing out of stock, reducing even the unsold component, which today plays a very vital role in, especially in the food shortage situations across the world. We are collectively present in more than 60 countries, serving some of the best blue chip companies like Procter& and Gamble, Heineken, Nestle, L'Oreal, British American Tobacco, Grupo Bimbo. And collectively, we move close to 25 to $30 billion of GMV annually in a year, and we continue to grow. We have more than 150,000 users with different personas, different roles and responsibilities within the system operating through our cloud solution. And the best part is we provide a lot of real-time information, business intelligence to the manufacturers, to the principals, which helps them take the right decisions at the right time. With this, I also introduce you to my colleagues Hitesh and Anand. They both have been with IV for close to a decade now, and they have also been interacting with a lot of customers, uh, trying to solve their challenges with the solutions that we have. And I hand over the stage to Hitesh and Anand so they can take it over from here, um, and present IV and also try to address some of your questions. Thank you.
Hi everyone. Hitesh here. I hope you can hear me properly. And so I'll just give you what you're seeing right now on the screen is the offerings that IB Mobility has in terms of product. But more importantly, from instead of we would like to call ourselves as a platform company because we have something called a unified commercial platform and all the different products that you see out here, be it the direct store delivery, cloud BMS, retail execution, all these are our applications which sit on a single platform. So there is a lot of seamless integration between all these activities, and we get a single source of truth of all the data that we collect as an organization. So what you're seeing out here are a lot of our customers. You can see a lot of them are from the food and beverages industry. We have Friesland Campaign, we have BAT, we have Nestle, we have so coincidentally today is the food and health day also. So it's a good day to have this talk about how the distribution and the last mile distribution happens, the digitization in this particular sector. So what we'll be seeing is the strategy of what is there in this entire supply chain and why is the digitization of supply chain required. Before we get into digitization, let's look at some of the challenges that are faced by in the supply chain. Now these challenges are not limited only to India. I have had the good fortune of doing implementations of a solution globally, and there's one thing that all these common the problems that we see are common across the globe. Let's take the first one: low operational efficiency. What happens is there is a lack of infrastructure and which leads to high costs. What we mean by this is basically you have to travel a lot to deliver your goods into some store, which could be a kirana store, it could be small stores, there could be departmental stores. So you have to plan your visits very, very effectively. And it's like, so that you don't have multiple trips for delivering small, small items, because all these stores may not be having huge capacity, storage capacities. So you have to reduce the number of trips, or you have to decide the frequency at which you're going to stock up these stores. Now, again, you have to keep in mind that you cannot overstock them, because if you're going to be overstocking them, you will lead into returns. Then you have to send empty trucks to take the goods back. Otherwise, the store will not give you business. So there's a lot of inefficiency in how do you move the goods from the plant or from the warehouses to the retail stores. The next challenge is the availability of the goods. Today we have various channels. You could be having the grocery channel, the departmental stores. You could be having the Horeca outlets, because today, if you look at it, you go into a pub, you go into a bar, you go into cafeteria, you have your products being displayed out there also, and they are kept out there for the general public to pick up. And every opportunity, if you don't have your goods stocked up in any of these shelves of any of these channels, you are losing an opportunity. So you need to ensure that the optimal quantity of goods is kept in each of the outlets of these varied channels. These channels could even be remote rural channels, and you have to ensure that the right volume of goods is there at the right channel. The third thing is you have a new channel which has come up today, the direct to consumer. So today, most of us today we get our goods, at least our basic essentials like our milk, our bread, etc., which are delivered every day at our doorstep. I don't even have to step out. I don't have to make a payment, because this is all either prepaid, or at the end of the month I'll get a bill which I can pay digitally. So this is the direct to channel. I get my goods straight away based on a standing instruction which I've given companies. Uh, with all these orders coming in from various different sources, there is lack of real-time data, because all this data is scattered around in multiple different locations, multiple different organizations, different servers. So how do you collate so much varied information and then try to make sense out of it to be able to deliver better? To add on to all this confusion that we have with regards to data with various channels, you have private brands also coming up with similar looking goods. So they provide the goods at a lower cost. You have to beat them, not only at the price, because ultimately many people see okay, if there's a difference of 2 or 3 rupees, I will still take that. So the prices of the products in the FMCG goods from one brand to the other brand, the prices vary very, very shortly. But you need to educate the people, how is your brand different from the others, because you have very similar brands coming in. So that's where the branding and the merchandising activities start gaining importance, which you need to be very good at. Then the next thing is your quick commerce, image recognition, uh, marketplaces. Basically, what we require today, one thing is to be for a retailer to be able to place an order in one single place. I cannot be having, it becomes very difficult for a retailer to, or if he wants to order biscuits and he has to use a mobile application. If he's getting supplies from 10 different companies, he has to go into 10 different apps and place an order for 10, 10, 10, 10 biscuits. It would be so much better for him for his daily operations if he just says that, okay, I want biscuits, he gets a list of 10 brands, he can put in the quantity of the 10 brands, and bang on, you have all the respective distributors getting the order immediately. You don't have to go into 10 different brands. So that's the thing which retailers today face a challenge, because they have to go into 10 different applications. So these are the challenges which are faced. And how does digital transformation help overcome these challenges? There are two things. One is the technology, to be able to use technology as an enabler to get information, and second is to be able to use this information. So once you use technology, once you enable the new technologies which are available, you will be able to gather a lot of data. You will get consumer engagements. You will have better consumer engagements. Your supply chain can be planned and organized better. You can define your sales routes more optimally. You can you can have more information available on the fingertips to be able to give to your sorry, to be able to give to your fleet on the street, to be able to say that, okay, these were the last 4 orders, why don't you pick this up? Because you've not taken it in the last 4 visits, so possibly you're out of stock, and this is something which will definitely sell at your store. So you're giving in information to your fleet on the street to be able to upsell better. But that is just an enabler. Once the data comes in, once your order data comes in, once your merchandising audits data come in, once your sales come in, once your achievements of the sellers come in, your demographics come in, all this can be put into a number crunching algorithm, and you can come up with a lot of behavioral analytics. You can come to know, like, what should be your next step. Because you have this kind of information today available digitally, you will be able to plan your advertisements better, target your advertisements better in the form of social media marketing. What is the main thing which will drive us towards this is we need to be very, very agile. We need to be quick to be able to react to change and take actions immediately. We are all aware in the FMCG sector, in the CPG sector, the biggest scare today, the ghost, is the out of stock situation. No company for even a moment would want its goods to be out of stock, should not be there on the shelf. That is a disaster situation. So you have to minimize your lost sales. Out of stock is a lost sale opportunity. You had an opportunity, your goods were not there on the shelf, you lost opportunity to competitors. How do you arrive? How do you eliminate such kind of situations? By being little more informed. How can you be more proactive, so that, like, you will get a lot of information that you can avoid such situations. You can reduce your cost to serve. You can reduce your administrative overheads, because now you have the digital information. You can plan your delivery routes much better. You can plan your rural visits much better. You have enough information to be able to say that, okay, what is the optimal stock that should be there at a shelf at any moment of time, so that the store is not overstocking and not resulting in returns, but at the same time I'm also able to, like, reduce the number of trips and give the optimal quantity. So now with digitization, you will have this information. You'll be having suggested quantities, suggested SKUs to be given based on AI algorithms. Your inventory can be planned better for with the distributor, because we have vendor managed inventory, where the vendor, the principal company, has visibility to the stocks, to the sales of every distributor, so you can see the trends. The system can see the trends and accordingly suggest that for a particular distributor, based on the trend of sales, based on the geography, based on the demographics that he's catering to, based on the seasonality factor, what should be the stocking that he should do to be able to serve his outlets. So all this information is available to make you more efficient. So what are the levers that we have? So how do we overcome this? What are the advantages? Uh, any system, including, like, IV system, definitely leads it. We've taken a lot of steps and to be able to overcome these challenges that we have seen by reducing costs. Now, what is the thing in reducing costs? First thing is, uh, we have ensured that you don't have only a single source of your orders. Your orders could come in from various different channels. It could be from a direct channel, it could be from the fleet on the street. You have the salesman going to the store and picking up an order. That's the most common that we've seen. But you also have direct integrations of the larger retailers with your company directly. You can place the orders directly. You can have third parties placing in the orders and pushing them into your servers. You have multiple different applications that you would be giving out and receiving the orders. So you can, like, enable your system to receive all the orders at one point from various different sources. So therefore no touch online ordering is enabled. You can plan your inventory much better. I just touched upon it a little on the previous slide. You have vendor managed inventory, because you have visibility to the distributors' operations, to the distributors' stock. What are the promotions that you would be coming up with, your trade promotions? Based on that, you can stock your retailer well in advance or just in time, so that, like, your goods do not go out of date and are fresh still to reach the consumers. We have digital performance management. So what digital performance management is to be able to reduce the time a seller or a merchandiser spends in the retail stores. So if you look at a departmental store, what a merchandiser does is he has to go do a shelf audit. What are the number of facings of your goods? Because you need to maintain that for proper branding. What are the facings? Is the product selling at the recommended price? If there was a consumer promotion which was given to the store, is the consumer promotion actually being executed at the store or not? Are the brandings, are the gondolas been set up? Have the banners been put up? Is there enough POSM material? So these are the things that a merchandiser would normally go and audit at a store. Now, how do you reduce this time? We have algorithms, we have capabilities today in our product by clicking a photograph. Just click a photograph, and within 3 minutes, our server will analyze the photograph and send back information to the mobile as whether you are adhering to whether the store is adhering to a planogram that was defined for placing the goods. What are the facings that are there for a particular SKU? What are the price? Is the price that the product selling at the right price? All information like this, whether the quality of the goods is being maintained, is it dirty or not? Have the goods been kept clean? Is the store ensuring that there's no dust collecting on your goods? Information like this can be picked up immediately, and therefore just by clicking of a photograph, it avoids the walking of a person and capturing information while walking around. So it saves a lot of time and brings in a lot of efficiency. You have better granular planning, so you can define what are the tasks that have to be done by a store in each by each salesman in the store. And it also helps bring in a lot of accuracy, because your promotions, your trade promotions that you may be planning as a company, you can target your promotions to a particular channel, to a particular area, to a particular route if you want, and say that, okay, I'm running a promotion, buy three, get one free for certain retail stores in a particular area only. Or I can say all the Horeca outlets, only the clubs in a particular area will get a discount on all the butter that they purchase. So you can define what are the goods, who are the target audience, and the salesman doesn't have to remember about it. The minute you time into the store for selling the order, the system will tell you, okay, these are the promotions available for this store, and it could change from store to store. So he doesn't have to actually carry a catalog with him and then or try to remember what are the offers which are available for different retailers. So you are much more targeted and focused on doing your work. Having said all this, digital transformation is not an overnight change. It is a journey. It cannot happen overnight. You need to be prepared for it. You need to plan for it. And this takes a good amount of time, good amount of focus and dedication. And if you do it well, if you take one step at a time, definitely you can see huge improvements in how your sales operations actually function. The first block that I would like to speak about in this journey is to be able to accept AIML ways of working. So with AIML, because now you have implemented technology, this technology enables you to capture huge amounts of data. And the AIML engines consume this data to be able to give you recommendations. Again, we have something called the recommendation engines for the next best SKU that the store can sell, so that he can up his return on investments. You can define what should be the assortment of goods in a particular store. So that way you have a mix of all the different goods, and all will sell at the same time, all will sell equally fast. So such kind of recommendation engines, what should be the optimum quantity that should be picked up by a store? This go into what the AIML algorithms take a lot of demographics. It takes the similar stores in the neighboring area, similar stores in the same area, their sales, their volumes, their quantities, etc. And then basis this, the system is able to suggest that, okay, since these other stores are doing it, you are also capable of doing, but you have not picked up this SKU, so you can take this SKU. So the system will suggest on what should be the SKU that a store can purchase. I touched upon the next block is the marketplace. I touched upon it very briefly earlier. You can have one application. Today, IV is one of the leaders again to come up with a marketplace application where your retailer can place an order for chocolates. Now, this chocolate could be any brand of chocolate. You can say brand A, B, C, D. I want quantity 10, 5, 3, 2, and you can see the respective promotions which are there associated with each of these brands. Once the retailer punches in the order, these orders are sent to the respective distributors and therefore to the respective principals, and each of them get the visibility and can service the order faster. So your retailer's life becomes easier, and then the tracking of the delivery can also be done in a marketplace kind of an application. Image recognition, as I said, you have to be taking the next step to be able to get efficiency in operations to reduce the time the person spends at the store so that he can visit more stores in the same day. So if a person previously was spending half an hour in going across the store, noting down the prices of each SKU that was there on the shelf, counting the number of SKUs that was there on the shelf, what is the share of shelf percentage that is given to his particular products, whether the displays are meeting the defined objectives or not. All that can be done now by a photograph. So instead of a person spending half an hour, that time can get reduced to 10 minutes. Therefore, giving the person time to visit more stores and bringing in more efficiency. Augmented reality, you could have different type of displays available. It's what we do. If Christmas season is coming up, or if the Diwali season is coming up right now, that's around the corner, and you want to set up certain displays, you want to put up a particular gondola and keep a lot of chocolates, you want to keep a lot of goodies, you want to keep a lot of food packets around that particular display, put lights around it and make it attractive. How would it actually look? Which would be the best spot within the departmental store where this would look attractive and draw people towards it? So you can do this digitally by placing it in the store. So you can you have your camera, you drag and drop the gondola and you click a photograph of it. It will appear as though a gondola is actually kept out there. So this is the power of augmented reality, where you place a virtual product or gondola into the actual store and see how it looks. Route optimization, uh, again, since we have a lot of information about the different routes or the different orders which have been placed, what are the quantity of goods that need to be given, the AI based algorithms will be able to suggest to you which are the outlets that should be serviced first, to be able to define a truckload full of goods and which are the stores within the nearest area to be able to deliver all those goods, so you get more efficiency in your delivery operations. End-to-end promotion management. You can plan your promotions better. You can target your promotions. You can target the budgets so that there's a proper and equitable distribution of the promotions. Ensure that all channels are getting the promotions properly. So this ensures proper revenue growth. And the next step is, once everything is selling well, you need to ensure that payments are coming in on time. So today again we've seen digital India. Everything is digital. Today I have not seen many people carry much of cash because everything is done via UPI, via credit cards. So that kind of digital payments has also been enabled in the applications. IV has again got a product called IV Pay, which enables you to receive payments digitally. It could be via credit card, debit card, UPI, any sort of digital payment. Just scan a barcode and your payment is done immediately. Saves a lot of time and brings in a lot of transparency and efficiency. This information that we have received can then be put into again an engine which will give out insights and tell you what has happened, how has been your trend. You can get a huge number of graphs and data related reports to give you insights into your business. This is for both the distributor operations as well as for the Salesforce operations of a company. So how do we digitally transform a company? So out here, what we have basically is the first part is we said we have a lot of data, single source of truth. It's a single platform. You get all the data. You get your order information, you get your invoice related details, you get your merchandising details, not only from one channel, but all the channels can be put in together. I can give you an example. Today in the distribution world, there are big players and there are small players. Now, big players may be having their entire DMS system, they could be having the SAP systems in place and look at that and get information. But then there are also players who work with accounting systems to do the accounting, and these accounting systems may be having inventory related capabilities and invoicing capabilities. So these systems like Tally, Busy, Mark, etc., are used by a huge number of distributors to manage not only the accounting but also the inventory and invoicing. Now, with information with such accounting systems, how do you integrate it? You need to have connectors to be able to pull out information from these systems and then pull it into your AI engine to be able to do the transformation. So that is having one source of truth. Get all the data from the disparate different systems, get it together into the engine and churn it to give you insights, and then you can take better informed decisions. So once you have single source of truth, the transformation happens because you can get better visibility to the orders that you need to service. You get the right assortments that need to be put on the shelves of a store. You are not randomly picking up SKUs and saying, "Acha, ye rakh do, baad mein dekhenge." We'll see. You keep it, and if it sells, it sells. Otherwise, I'll take it back. Now you're taking a more informed decision because this is coming out based on the statistics that the data is telling you up onto your place. So you have better assortments, and therefore, you can take decisions on geographic, on demographic based, decisions as to what will work where, and accordingly stock up the shelves. And this is where your AIML basically helps you. So that's about the digital transformation. I'd like to give you a little, I'd like to speak about a case study of one of our clients. As I said, this was a journey. So we had way back in 2010, we had started off this journey of digitization for one of our leading clients. So this is a multinational company having 200 plus brands, and this was again in the food and beverages sector. They had a lot of dairy products. They deal in dairy products, instant food, baby products. These were the various different category of products that they deal in, and having a presence in over 175 countries. Almost every country in the world has this presence. Uh, the challenges was the operations were fragmented in the APAC region. There was no commonality in the ways of working. Initially, they used to do the operations based on a pen and paper, and became very difficult for them to keep track of how do you get the best efficiency into the system. So we took on the transformation journey and have made a huge impact to this particular company. So we have implemented, to start off with, we implemented a mobile application for them, and for the fleet on the street, we just did a very simple thing. We started off with saying that, okay, you start booking your orders digitally. So on the mobile application, you just go take orders and nothing else. So that is when we first introduced them step by step, saying, take first step, just go take the orders. Then whatever you're doing normally, you continue doing, but the orders you start taking digitally. Because once the orders came in, we were able to get those orders to the back end, process those orders, invoices, and then start delivering those invoices. So the time was saved, and there was better visibility given to the salespeople about the orders. Then we started pushing down promotions, saying that for a particular retailer, these are the promotions. So that helped them decide what they should buy. It started inducing them to buy more goods. So one step at a time, first orders, then promotions. Then we said, okay, if you need to know more, why don't you also take the key SKU stock which is on the shelf? So that will give us some idea as to how much stock you have, and therefore your order quantity can now be optimized. You don't have to blindly place an order. Our system can suggest and look into your trend of sales over the last 4 weeks. What has been your trend of sales? Basis that, how much is your daily average consumption? I'm going to be visiting you in the next week, and if 4 pieces is your daily consumption, 7 into 4, 28 pieces, out of which 10 are already there. So you should place an order for only 18 pieces. This kind of visibility came in, and therefore, the retailer was very happy because he was not overstocking. He didn't have to pay out extra funds and then worry about returns and all. So that is where our mobile application became a huge hit. Then that was, we served only the order booking. Then we moved to the next step, saying that okay, this is good. Now why don't you take the next step? We brought in the van sales, ready sales. So we started sending out goods along with the drivers and saying, okay, this is what I have right now. Do you want to take it immediately? So this is for your dairy products, for your breads, etc. Where there is 100% demand. I don't need to take an order for such items. The minute I go out there, the retailer is going to pick it up. So I don't need to have two people, one person going taking an order and the next person day somebody coming and delivering it. So that brought about again efficiency in operations for products which are not needed on a daily basis, which you can actually store and sell after a few days. For that, whatever the pre-sales orders were delivered in T+1 or T+2 days by a delivery person. We ensure that in our ways of operation, the application works both in an online as well as an offline method. Why an offline method is because, you have lots of stores, a lot of grocery stores, etc., in the basements. And in those basements, today also, if you go into a basement, your network does not work very well. You do not get a strong network signal. So in that case, the system should not stop the person from taking an order. So the entire application works in a disconnected manner. You take the orders, you go out, you take all the orders, even though there's no connectivity, you still will not be stopped to take the order. Once you finish operations, come into any place where there is internet connectivity and synchronize your order. The backend warehouse will be informed of all the orders, all the work that you have done, the minute you get connectivity. So this brought about again a good amount of optimization and efficiency in the system. Obviously, with this digital information, the salespeople were given a lot of information on their devices to be able to upsell their products, like the previous orders that were placed by the retailer and so on. So once this was done, the next thing was digital order screen. So we could get how to be able to show the people how your products actually looked like. So we were able to place the order along with an e-commerce application, so that it's not only taking an order on the mobile, you can place an order also using a website on an e-commerce site, and also have e-catalogs. You could, if the salesman go onto the field and wanted to educate the retailers about the new products, the nutritional values, etc., you can download a PDF file or a video and show it to the retailer, saying that this is what are the benefits of the good, this is the benefit that you can get if you stock the goods. So all such information, instead of speaking words and videos, a picture or a video says 1,000 words. So these videos and pictures can be shown to the retailers, and the rest is self-explanatory. Your business will boom. You have total traceability about a person as to where the salesman is. So supervisors basically would like to know, okay, how many salesmen in his team are on the field, how much worth of orders have been taken till 12 o'clock, are we on target, have the collections come in properly. So all information is now available on the click of a button, because we have real-time visibility to data, we have the real-time visibility to where my salesman is on the field. You have real-time stock view, so that you can actually block the orders that you are taking, and therefore ensure that whatever are the orders I am booking will be delivered by T+1 or T+2 maximum. So this was the digital transformation we did for this company, which today is 5,000 plus users in 4 countries. Today we take 60,000 plus orders in a single day. The volume, the number of pieces that have increased, the number of SKUs that have been ordered for have increased by 44% over the last 2 years, and therefore increased in 11% increase in their sales over the last 2 years. As I said, this was a journey. So we had started way back in 2010, where we introduced the first mobile application. and then grew into the pre-sales, van sales in 2016. We introduced the rural operations, and then we moved into the Hong Kong operations in 2020. 2021, they have implemented our marketplace application, which is like, really taking them places. So this is the digital transformation which we did for this one multinational company. The other one, I would like to hand over the deck to Anand because he was more closer to the second operation. Thank you very much. And over to you, Anand.
Thanks, Hitesh. So now I'll take you guys through the rest of the deck, which will give you even more detail of how we have done. So like Hitesh mentioned, this was the account or this was the client that I was very close to. So this particular thing, client is in foods, and their basic thing is they are into frozen foods. So when we launched this particular program with the client, what had happened is they were very keen on few parameters. So like the business challenges that they gave us was to lower the lower product visibility across distribution channels. So they didn't have visibility. The tracking of their assets, that is their coolers, the fridges, and all across the markets were difficult, and cost to serve was really high. So what we did is we launched our program with them, and once we gave our program that we say our unified commercial platform, what they did is they took a nice approach and they went step by step. So once when they went step by step, what had happened is the unified commercial platform became their sales structure. So all of those sales activities used to happen through our system. The channel management became much better because then they started maintaining the stocks or the promotion or all the other information that is needed at a channel level. Now, once you segment your system, your hierarchy, the next thing that comes is how do you make your orders, make inventory controls, your promotions, all of those. So we also enhanced it in that particular manner that they were able to do all of those in the same platform. Now, the beauty of the whole thing is they kept on growing in a step-by-step approach. So the next step that they came is the custom financial reporting. So they also got into financial. Then the fun thing that started was they wanted to come and say that, you know what, Ivy, we have seen a big change, if I put in that manner, that from an SFA perspective, we have improved a lot. How can you make my distributors' life easy? So distributor's life, we took that as a challenge, and we understood that a distributor's life cycle basically starts from midday onwards once we start getting the orders from the sales rep. But his life journey goes on till 11 p.m. because orders come in different packets, budgets, all of those comes in, and it takes a lot of time to do that. So we started automating for them. Now, once we started automating for them, we enabled two capabilities which saved 60% of their time. So when I say 60%, what exactly we did is we give them bulk allocation. One click, 500 orders processed in less than 18 minutes, which used to basically take them 2 hours, 2.5 hours, or 3 hours sometime, with the validations that used to be done manually. So in our approach, in less than 18 minutes, with your 15 to 20 validations, let it be your credit control, let it be your inventory control, all of those kits used to get managed and used to be passed on. So this saved 2.5 hours time of the distributors. Then came the fun part again called SKU swapping. So they wanted the right products to be there on the market. Now, how can they do that? Because taking an example, they were sponsoring the World Cup. Now, World Cup product needs to be there in the market, but the distributor would select the product which are supposed to be sold. So we came out with SKU swapping, where the system recommended or informed the sales distributor that this is how you need to do. These are the products are there which needs to be there in the market for visibility. So like you see, the step-by-step approach that we have taken gave us the visibility and the company the benefit that there are 600 the distribution sales rep, 48,000 plus retailers, or the 48,000 plus orders that was coming per day, 30% improvement in field productivity, and 42% less time taken to place orders. So here you can see the process of processing, capturing, and productivity increased. Now, this is also what happened is they also extended into our marketplace capability. So like I said, they took step-by-step approach, and once they got their SFA, the DMS, all of those in place, next thing that came was the marketplace. Now, they wanted to give their retailers some activities to be done, some orders to be done, so that they can understand the retailers' way of working. So when we launched this particular capability for the client, 16,000 retailers were taken in, and 525 distribution centers or distributors were part of it. Now the whole thing got such beautifully integrated because it's a unified commercial platform. Everything was integrated with each other. So what had happened is an order placed by the retailer used to go to the distributor directly rather than having a middle layer. Now time spent was reduced. Communication became much better between both of them. All of those improvements got into the hands of the retailers, which made the retailers operate more on this manner. And what had happened is the company started saying, you know what, I will make sure that you have some specific promotions that you can run. Your payments can happen right away. All of those benefits were handed over to the retailers directly rather than being a middle person. So that got the improvements to the next level. Now, these were the two few cases. I have few more case studies like in Mexico, because these were specific from an India perspective. So from Mexico perspective, if I give you an idea, there is a bread manufacturing company, the world's largest bread manufacturing company with 36,000 mobile users only in Mexico. That is like a huge sales team. And the technology on which they came was Ivy, and we have scaled their process in one single instance. So if you just see at any point of time, at if I say 9 a.m., 12,000 users hit the server, validate, and they do a million, or I'll say 10 lakh store visits a day, so that all of these people are able to cover. So we have such kind of use cases also provided outside India where we cater and we got the best in class technology installed. Now, when we come into the new technology, what we have also learned is that from an FMCG supply chain perspective, the regular way of order capture, your what do you say, DMS, your van sales, merchandising, pretty much it's all there. But what next is how you digitize is your visibility, because that is acting like the most important parameter for the merchandisers or the company. So Ivy has an image recognition tool, that is IVI, where with a snap of a single photo, like Hitesh also mentioned, I can have one photo of the shelf, or if you want to get more details, you can build your shelf. Now, build your shelf comes in three manners. One that we currently have is take multiple photos and it gets stitched. Second is something what we call as burst mode. So we are also piloting this, that a sales rep just has to take the phone, scan it across, and the images, the video is captured, the right set is captured, and then the image recognition happens. And now the third generation is where we are working with few of our clients, and this is something that has come in, and we are trying to enhance this is your in-store cameras which can do that, or bots which can be sent across to snap photos. So approaches, because from the market how it is growing, we also love to grow in the same manner, and we are trying to keep ourselves in power with those technologies. So here you can see in one photo, when you take a snap of a photo of a shelf, in less than 3 minutes, you get your results back onto your device. So what happens is, if you get a third party person, again, integration has to go in, then the data goes and processes and sits in a place, then you have to retrieve it to get it a single source view. We provide it in one single space. 98% accuracy and the lower cost, the best in segment. So when we say the cost perspective, because we believe that once the technology is there, technology is not the cost barrier, it is the return. So what if I'm using this capability, what is the return that I get in terms of monetary benefit? So you just pay for the capability, but the result pays you more with insights of the data. So all of these information that you see on the right hand side gives you captures the information starting from availability, share of shelf, planogram, promotion check, even your strips of your price. So when I take a photo, the product under which there is a price tag, we even study that, and using the OCR technology, we also read that, map it, get you the price so that you know what price it is getting sold at. So just to make sure that all of those dots are ticked. So here, these are a few screenshots. So here you can come, you can select your shelf, build your shelf. It gives you the results right away. So all of those happens automatically. And this is where we see the trend going in, that we are where you just not take a image of the shelf, it would give you recommendation. So we have combined the image recognition with the recommender engine, where what will happen is once you scan the photo, it gets processed. It'll tell you, you know what, the planogram is wrong. shift this. You are having one less facing for this particular product. This product is missing, replace it. So all of those intuitive alerts is part of the system which comes out when the sales rep is at the store. Now, what we have seen is all of this native information. So I'll say 35% time saving has happened, 15% improvement in data, 12% improvement in assortment, 4% increase in same store sales. So when you do this process, all of those data gets processed into a central database, which processes using the recommendation or the insight and gives you back the results. Now, it is just not just that you go, you snap a photo and you build it. Now, how do you take it to the next level? Now, we all know that our phones are getting smarter and smarter with all the augmented reality games that we have. We have also embedded that into other products. So now you don't have to go show a photo that this is how the shelf is going to look like, Mr. Store Owner. Do you want the shelf to be in this, where it will come in this place, it will be this tall, this wide? Sorry, I cannot imagine, I cannot visualize it. Can you help it better? Is the store owner's answer. So that is where we have come out with an augmented reality setup where you define whether you want to put a shelf or a cooler or a standee, whatever you would want, just create a digital imprint, push it into the back office, and then the sales rep can go on ground, set it up and show it to the store owner. This is how it will look. If you want to add products, here are the products. If you don't want to add products, remove the product. All of those setups are done. And this makes it much easier or much more visible or visual for these store owners to understand it better. Now, coming into the fun part, this is where your AI ML gets triggered in. Now, let's take a small case scenario. Let's all our sales rep on the ground basically are an 8th grader and above. So what happens is, let's say Anand is an 8th grader and I'm going talking to Ankur. I'll say, Ankur, you know what? This product you need to buy this. Ankur saying, on what basis are you telling me this? My answer internally is, it is highlighted in green, I need to make a sale. But the reality is the system has churned this data and given it to me to talk to Ankur. Now what will happen is Ankur will say, I'm not interested because you're not giving me the right value, because Ankur knows his market, his space very well. So what we have done is, when we come out with an SKU recommendation, we come out with prescription. So when I say prescription, every product for which recommendation has come in, the system will generate a prescription. So what will happen is, if I go to Ankur and say that, you know what, Ankur, this particular product, your near and peer stores of the same kind have upsold it by 60%. That means 60% of your stores nearby are having this particular product. Are you sure you want to have it or you don't want to have it? I can have such intelligent discussions rather than just saying, this product is trending, please buy. So that is how we have taken these simple FMCG order to the next level, where you get prescription to talk and act smart. Now, this is where we have done. So we have two manners. One we say is fit sell. So these are assortment based. So you can define your assortment, or the system will define the assortment, saying that, you know what, my Kirana stores will have these all products, my independent supermarkets will have these products, my pharmacy will have these products. But this is based on the assortment and all the store types. Now, the next one is upsell. What you need to have, which you are not having, because the trend is changing in your locality. I am telling you the trend, Mr. Store Owner. This is how the trend looks like. There are new products coming in. This is the growth that we are seeing. All of those information is provided. So that is where we have split the recommendation to fit sell to upsell. So fit sell, you match it to your needs. Upsell, what the trend is happening in your locality, that thing is getting updated and set up. And that's it from my side. So these are the capabilities, what technology that we are using, how we see digital transformation, a few overview of our existing clients, how we have managed them, and the technology that is there in the market, which has been adapted, and what will be the future is what we have covered today. Rupa, Prakashi.
Yeah, thanks, team Anand, Hitesh, and Arvind. It was excellent, actually. The presentation was very good. Before I do any speaking, I think it's open. The floor is open for questions if anybody has. Mr. Ankur, anything from your side?
Looks like there is a question from Mr. Jayaraman. Hitesh, can you take the message box, please? Hitesh, you're in mute.
Sorry, I was just reading out the question. How will the photos help if multiple pieces of a SKU are placed in trays and stacked vertically in the shelf? So with this, what happens is, let's say I have some biscuit packets and they're kept one above the other. By clicking a photograph and sending it to our AI ML engine, the system will be able to tell us how many pieces of or how many facings are there one above the other, how many pieces of that particular SKU are placed on the shelf. If there is a planogram associated with the stocking of the biscuits one above the other, the system will also be able to tell us whether it is adhering to the planogram or not. If there is a price associated with the SKU and the shelf or the tray on which the goods are placed is having a price, then the system will be able to compare the price listed on the shelf along with the price that it is supposed to be selling at and tell whether there's a price adherence with the for the SKU or not. So these are the three things which the system will straight away be able to tell you by clicking a photograph.
One more question from Mr. Jayaraman, I think. It's says, how are you able to collect information for upsell recommendations in a locality?
Okay. See, what happens is in a locality, we have something called the product tagging or the must sell list, the focus items, etc. So, what you can do is for a particular area, you can set up the must sell SKUs. And when you're taking an order, if you have not taken an order for the must sell SKUs defined as per your area, the system can give you a warning and say, or like, give you a prompt. You've not sold the must sell SKUs. Is there any reason for which you are not able to sell the must sell SKU at a particular retailer? So that way you can, like, the system is prompting you and telling you these are the SKUs you need to sell, you need to upsell. And if the retailer is not taking those any of those particular SKUs, you are given a choice to enter a reason that okay, retailer already had stock or retailer did not want it. So that way we can get some more information as to why the seller was not able to sell the upsell or upsell the SK recommended SKU.
And just to add on to Hitesh's point, so all the data that we collect over here is coming in from the sales rep who's on the ground. So we have two sources of data. One is an internal source where the sales rep goes, gets the data, captures it, and then process it within a system. Or sometimes a client would say that I need an add-on. That means I need demographic visibility, I need the seasonality visibility, all of those. So either you can source those externally, or if you say that on your system is something that I need to do that, we can very well look and get those data, take it as part of the core base, and then process it and then split it across to the right store at the right time.
I have a question. I mean, any of you could answer. So theoretically, I understand this can be, implemented in any kind of. I mean, you say small, medium, large, any kind of setup. But practically, looking at everything, cost benefit analysis, the investment that the company has to make. What is the size of company that you think would really look at these kinds of solutions? Any benchmark figure in terms of turnover per annum or anything like that possible? Or is it not good to look at that?
So let me take this, Mr. Prakash.
Yeah.
Instead of saying that the turnover as a criteria, as long as somebody would like to grow, optimize their movement of inventory, ensuring that the unsolds are less, right? As long as there is growth as a factor, even smaller customers can hop onto it.
Okay.
So we do have smaller customers with a small user base as well. We also have multinational corporations with large usage spread over 20, 30, 40 countries. So it depends on what is the motive with which, what is the underlying agenda that a company has. If it is growth, if it is optimizing your economic resources, then I think we are the right partners.
Okay. This question was basically, as I said earlier, a number of industries which are in the small medium segment as far as the food industry is concerned. Assume, I mean, just throwing out some figures, assuming that somebody is making a turnover of say 100 crores per annum, and if we are asking him to invest something like 10 crore, he may not, no, he may not. Otherwise, on the other sense, if we ask him, yes, it's going to be like a crore of rupee, which is or 1 or 2% of his probably revenue, then he may look at. That's why I asked this question. No?
Yes. So definitely the unit economic matters there. It cannot be a significant percentage of 100 crore turnover that he does, but it's more got to do with the distribution network that he has. How does he reach the retail system? All these things are also factored before a decision is taken by him.
Yeah. Anybody else, Ms. Ranpur, you have anything?
No, thank you so much. I think from my side, I think it was very, very informative and very, very good. And I know that what are the only one question? What are the real on-ground challenges that you face in India? Because on the usage and adoption part of it, and with a high churn out, the attrition happening with the last minute connectivity, those feet on street, those which we say distributor salesman. Uh, what kind of challenges normally, typically you see in adoption where the attrition rate is very high?
I'll tell you. I'll give you a little insight on the challenges certain challenges that we have faced on the ground. One is the distributor's preparedness for the change. So if he's changing from one existing system to another existing system, or if he's moving from pen and paper to a system, we have to ensure that we are not overloading him with a lot of features. That's the very first point in the success criteria. Take one step at a time. Do not tell him to do 10 things at the same time from a salesman point of view. Because you have to keep in mind that the caliber of the person, the background, how much because the people who are the salesmen, they are not highly qualified. They're not going to be looking at so many graphs to understand this. As a salesman, what is their job? They want to sell. So you have to enable them to sell and then start giving them one dose after the other, saying that, okay, now you're able to do this, very good, fantastic. Now just look at this additional bit of information and start doing your stuff. So you have to move them up step by step. If you tell them to do 10 things at one time, they will not use the system. So that is the first approach. Second is to have the distributors also have their data cleaned properly, because sometimes what happens in the data setup, they would be having the same retailer listed 10 times. Rama and Company, Rama Space and Company. They do this for whatever reasons to avoid tax and all. So you really don't know what happens. Why exactly they've got these 10 different names. So then the same store is listed 10 times, and how do you consolidate those things? So there's a cleanup which you will have to look at when populating your data. So these are the two first challenges that we face.
Yeah, and this regarding that adoption by those distributor salesmen, where you see the attrition becomes higher, and as you also said that internet connectivity they don't get all the time, and at times when the internet connectivity is not there, uh, have you experienced in India that at that point in time they're still using that pen and paper and not
No, actually, what happens
the
is with our
device?
application, the application works in a disconnected manner. So you don't need
Okay,
to have internet connectivity always.
so after that you
So,
go and sync it. After that
yes,
they would go and sync it.
correct.
Is
In the
is
morning,
is
when you're at the distribution center, you do a download. If there's Wi-Fi, the salesman is at his home and he's in order booking mode only, he can synchronize, download the prices for the day, the retailers for the day. He does the download once. That's it. Then at the end of the day, only he requires the data to be uploaded. So in between, if he doesn't have connectivity throughout the day, it doesn't make any difference. He can still continue doing his operations on the mobile.
Thank you so much.
Are there any more questions? I don't see anything on the chat box. Yeah, if there are no more questions, I think I would request Mr. Nakshatri to go ahead with the thanks. Only thing with, what I've understood today is digitization is something which generally people feel anything like this can be adopted only in the large scale, large industry, not in the medium sector or small sector. But as you said, I think everyone who has an intent to grow, reduce their costs, grow the revenues, all that, everywhere it is possible, and it is a journey, not overnight, as you said. It's not overnight, but it's a journey. Yes, Mr. Nakshatri, over to you.
Yeah, thank you so much for the IV Mobility Singapore team.
Thank you very much, sir.
I understand, since I'm also in the retail background, a little bit of worked in the retail industry. Everybody talks about the supply chain. It is the main concern in the not only the food or the FMCG, every product, the supply chain is the main concern, because the cost and the time and the inventory, all these things, it's all the supply chain is on the main criteria. I think today, after hearing from your presentation and your experiences and the several your examples in Mexico and in other countries, I think it's a good, I think very nice, excellent message. By doing digitizing our supply chain, we can save not only the time, minimizing the lost sales, inventory management, costs, and even the field representatives, their productivity and the less time taken to deliver the customer's order. So ultimately, the customer who is going to pay for that. I think this is what the whole the today's your presentation has given. I think all of us we enjoyed. I think it is a better learning, and to all those who are involved in the supply chain of the FMCG or any other product. I thank Mr. Arvind, Mr. Anand Singh, and Mr. Hitesh from IV Mobility for giving this beautiful presentation to the our today's webinar. Thank you so much, all of you. Thanks a lot for all the way from joining from Mumbai and Singapore. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much for giving us the opportunity.
Yeah, and also I thank all the participants across the Mumbai and Bangalore and Chennai. All the people I'm seeing from the industry side, they have participated, because even though this is an office timing 3:30 to 5 o'clock, even then they have taken their time, interested in the topic, and they joined us. I thank you so much for all of them. And I thank our chairman, Mr. Ankur Bhomik, and co-chairman, Mr. Prakash Rao, for the giving the contest and also deliberating the whole webinar. Thank you so much for the BCIC Secretariat, Rupa, and their team for conducting and arranging this webinar nicely. Thank you so much. Thank you, one and all. Thank you so much. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. I think
Thank you very much. Thank
we
you.
will be in touch with IB team for other things also in future. And we
Yeah.
can also be in touch.
Definitely.
Yeah. Thank you.
Definitely. It will be a pleasure to be part of any activity that you would like to run.
Yeah.
And also what we can do, not necessarily that we restrict only to agree, we can also call other committee members and have a physical, as two of you are from Bangalore, actually we can have a physical meeting whereby other committee members also can come. Though your core competency could be in FMCG, but sometimes you know that it's always better that we also meet people from other committees, you know.
Yeah.
Definitely.
That also we can organize.
Cross sector. Yeah.
Sure.
Definitely. Whatever is convenient for you.
Yeah.
So over to Rupa now.
Yes, sir. Thank you very much to the team from IV Mobility. We look forward to have many more sessions in the future as well, sir. Thank you very much. Thank you all the participants for your time. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank
so
you.
much. Have a nice day.
Right. Thank you.
Yeah. Thanks, Nakshatri, for the nice vote of thanks. And thanks, Mr. Ankur. Yeah.